Hey there. I'm coming to you from a hotel room. I came with my husband on a trip, and I just felt God talking to me about this verse that I was reading the other day. And it's out of Psalms 41 and 2. And David says, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me. How many times have we tried to call out on the Lord and we may be impatient and wanting Him to answer right away? And he may not, but there are times where we must just be patient, but still wait, knowing and having faith that God is going to answer us. And we may have to persevere through whatever we are going through. But it goes on to say, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. So I I narrowed down on that word inclined, and I thought, so inclining means like sort of like I take care of children, and sometimes it's hard for me to hear them speaking over everybody else. But when they talk to me, when one comes up to me, I kind of like move in closer, to listen. I bring in the gap that's in between everything that's going on around me and focus in on that child and just put my ear closely to him to hear him. And that's what I kind of picture God doing to David. He inclined to me and heard me cry. How must that make us feel? Knowing that when we cry out to God, He inclines in and listens. He inclines in to close in the gap of whatever's going on in between us and Him, whatever fear, whatever distraction, whatever is going on. So that way there's no space anymore in between us and Him. And not only that, it goes on to say in verse 2, He lifted me out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and the mire. And I looked into that too, and I was like, mire, what is that? And it described it as is when you go to the beach and you step into the sand, and as the ocean hits you and the water and the waves, you kind of sink into the sand more and more and more, and it's kind of difficult to get out, right? So that's what you're imagining. That's what I was imagining what was going on, how David felt at that point, because he knew of pits. He knew when Saul was chasing him, trying to kill him, when he was in sin with Bathsheba, and then he lost his son, his baby, his boy. And not only that, when his son was even conspiring to go against him and to kill him. So David knew what a pit was. David knew when he had to hide in the cave away from everybody else, away from God, being able to worship him. He knew what a deep, dark pit of despair was. A lot of times the enemy would try to instill fear in us that we won't be able to get out of the pit we're in sometimes. What pit, what mire are you stuck in right now? What type of despair are you feeling right now? I encourage you to call out to Him, because He will incline to hear you. He will bring in the gaps that are trying to keep you separated from God. He will. Just like he finished off in chapter 40, verse 2, he says, He set my feet on solid ground and steadied me as I walked along. So not only will He incline to hear you, He will lift you out of that pit of despair, and He will set you on steady ground, on solid ground, and steady you as you walk. Steady meaning, I looked up the word in Hebrew, it means, steady means to stabilize, support, strengthen. And this is referring to us, providing us assistance to reinforce us, to help us as we walk. So not only is he just going to listen to us cry, not only is he going to pull us out of the pit of despair that we're in, but he is also going to support us and walk with us. So know today that whatever you're facing, whatever challenges that may seem like, oh, there's no way of getting out of it, I encourage you to turn to him and cry out to him because he won't fail you. Man will, but he won't. Be blessed. I'm praying for you.